Hello, everybody. I am so sorry. I have to apologize. Please share this video. Share, and share alike. I was on talking for about 10 minutes. And then I looked at the bottom of my screen because I kept saying, I don't see any comments. And then I noticed that the box said, go live or whatever. Can you see me, Naj? All right. So now I see. Hey, what's up, Landon? What's up, Prince Cat Eyes? I was on here talking up a storm, and nobody saw me. How about that? Usually I have it more together, but I was trying to do this on my laptop, and my laptop wasn't giving me effects. It was too dark. Um, so I decided to finally get on my phone. I'll have to see other people come in. How you doing, Donald Thomas? Atlanta in the house. What's going on? I'm just going to wait for a few minutes because of the fact that it was my fault not clicking the go live button like I was supposed to. But I was talking, but I wasn't on. you know? So I'm going to have to start all over. And maybe when I have the mindset, I'll just start talking and people will come on. Please share the live. What I was talking about was, what's up, Najee? You want something to drink? You can go in the refrigerator and get you something to juice, some juice or whatever. You look like you're sweating.
I am.
Okay.
I want to do that.
My friend Najee stopped by. He didn't know I was doing a live, even though I tagged him in it.
You did.
Okay.
What you doing tomorrow?
Now you get ready to go?
Yeah, I was just stop by.
Okay, so I'm doing a live, so I'll see you later. Wave at the people. All right, just turn the door. Alrighty. Call me when you get home. I'll be off by the time you get home. Alrighty, babe. All right, so let me get back. Bring them on camera. How do I bring people on camera? I'm supposed to bring people on camera?
I mean, you can add them here. It says, you can push this add a friend. Look, add. The people that want you to add, push add.
All right, so they added.
So they're going to pop up. If
Okay.
somebody want to be adding, they're going to pop up.
All right, let me wave back. Okay, so I'm getting a lesson in how to do things. I'll talk to you later on, right? Don't forget to call me. Don't make me come to East Orange. All right. Love you too. How you doing, Terrence Martin? What's up, Robert Jess? What's going on? I'm glad. Yeah, you said you see me again. I was basically already on talking and realized that I wasn't on, you know. But anyway, because I went from this laptop thing to this cell phone. I didn't want to have to hold on. What's up, Sharice? Love you, Sharice LaBeja. Okay, so let me get to what I was talking about while you guys were not seeing or hearing me. I was talking about how every day on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, every single day you see something come up about what the Republicans are doing or not doing. They are like so hateful, just hateful. I want to mention their names: Kevin McCarthy, Marjorie Green Taylor, uh, Josh Hawley, Mark, what's his name? Mark Cruz, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell. I want to know where these people come from. And I want to know why we have to deal with such hate and domestic terrorism. This white supremacy thing is way overrated. There's so many issues within the black community and Black Lives Matter that it's gotten to a point where we have to keep fighting. We have to fight and fight and fight because every time you turn around, the Republicans and the GOP senators are not in our corner. They are not for us. They will not uh, fight for us to get anything. It's all about, it's all about, how can I put this? It's all about people um, doing what they want to do. It's all about the 1%. It's all about Wall Street. It's all about the big pharmaceutical companies. It's all about everything but the people, but the working people and the poor people. We are really screwed. And I don't understand. I'm not an expert. I know a little bit about bipartisanship. But when I tell you that Biden is a beautiful person, got a beautiful heart, but he needs to understand that these Republicans, they turned us out over and over and over again. This filibuster and all these other things that they do, they don't vote on stimulus. They don't do anything to help the people, only themselves. When will he get it in his head? When will Kamala push him to get it in his head that we need to get rid of that filibuster? I don't care. They used it for their benefit and they're using it for their benefit now. Um, get some more people in the Supreme Court that's going to be fair with us, for the people, we the people. You know, let's get let's start calling our Congress people. Let's stop being lazy and pretending, oh, it's going to get better. Let somebody else do it. No, we have to do it, and we have to stand up and fight. And like if we as black people can fight each other, we can fight them. Okay, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired, like I said, when a black man gets in trouble, they throw him in jail right away. But when you have somebody like Trump and his family, it's taking months and months and months, and it'll be years. Criminal charges pending, tax evasion, uh, unlawful this, unlawful that. Why does it take them so long to put these people in handcuffs? Why every time a black person, if he go to the corner and rob a store, he's in front of the judge and in jail already? But these people steal money, and look, Trump is responsible for over 500,000 people dying. His people to this day are still saying that the election was stolen. Okay, I'm not going to go on with this because it really irritates me. I'm just saying that I'm sick and tired of saying, raise your hand if you want Trump in jail. Raise your hand if you want Donald Trump Jr. exposed. We already been through that. Everybody wants them to go to jail. My point is, when? How long is it going to take? Why is it taking so long? And if it's going to take long for them, the next time a black man come in front of the judge, then give him some time. Let him go on 6 months to a year back and forth with the same nonsense that you allow Trump and the GOPs and the Republicans to get away with their nonsense. And Matt Gaetz running around doing coke, running around, had the nerve to read Al Sharpton at a congressional meeting about a year ago, and now he's sitting up here going with underage women. I'm sick of it. I know y'all sick of it. We got to find a way. We have to find a way to stand up and fight these people because enough is enough. Our world, our country, everything is in shambles. It's a mess. Okay, I had to get that off my chest. Now I want to get back to. I'll say a few more things before the night's over, but I want to get back to why I'm here. I'm here tonight, and this live is dedicated to everybody. If you're black, it's dedicated to you. If you're white, you too. If you're Puerto Rican, Hispanic, you too. If you're Asian. But the overall video reason why I'm doing this live is dedicated to my boy, my ride or die partner, Larry Prelo Ebony. I hope you're listening, Larry. Yeah, you didn't have a clue, right, that it was gonna be about you. Yeah, it's gonna be about you because why not? Okay, so here's the story. I want to take everybody on a journey. Now, y'all know the CD70s ball is coming up. We'll get into that in a little while. But I want to take you to the 70s. I want to take you to Brooklyn. I'm going to take you to Bed-Stuy, do or die, where me and Larry both was born and raised. Ebony, Omni, and we had the Brooklyn houses. Miss Paris Dupree was from Philadelphia and moved to Brooklyn in the 70s to get away from her dad because her dad was, you know, anti-gay. Um, so really, the House of Dupree is a Brooklyn house too, until Paris went uptown and moved to Harlem. But my mentioning of that is to bring about an understanding. We're on this journey to the 70s. We're on this journey to the beginning of the house structured ballroom. When I think about the Brooklyn houses, we had a hard time. And even though we had a hard time breaking into the ball community, because the balls were uptown in Harlem, they were uptown. The uptown children were not making it easy for the Brooklyn children. And the House of Ebony, the House of Omni, R.R. Chanel, the House of Chanel, the House of Plenty. Um, I'm sure there's others, but I basically am telling my story. You know, I want everybody to understand that these are my opinions. And I stand by my opinions because I'm happy. I'm happy to have lived in an era where I had some good people. You know, my growing up, I often talk about my mom's. You know, I miss her. She's been gone a year. But my mother raised me, I would say, the right way. I come from the era that if you look sideways at my mom's or at an adult, you'd get hit in your mouth with a wet rag, a dish rag. I don't know if y'all know how that's very painful. Back in the South, they would get the switches, but when you was born in Brooklyn, you got the wet rag. And my mother would hit you with a Pepsi Cola. They didn't have 2 liter plastic bottles. When I was growing up, it was 64 ounces and it was made of glass. And you got hit with one of them bad boys, you knew you would never try it again. So you talking about some people look at that as being abusive. I'm not getting into the technicalities. I'm just telling you what happened to me. You got your behind whooped. So we had good family structure. Now I bring that up to bring back to the family structure of the balls when we were growing up. You know, you had like Larry was my ride or die, but Larry was also like the one we went to when we had problems in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You know, Larry ran with Nicky Barnes and, you know, and Shemeka and, you know, Larry was out there. And Larry will tell you in a minute, you couldn't come to Brooklyn unless he allowed it because Larry ran with that type of crew. I personally was a part of that crew on my own. The days were funny. We had the Black Panthers, we had the Jolly Stompers, we had these gangs. When the 5%ers first started, I remember that one gang would come through the streets of Brooklyn, and if they saw you on your stoop or whatever, they would tap you on your shoulder. That means you had no choice. You had to walk with them. You had to be in that gang. That's how it was. That was realness. Okay. And I remember when the first 5%er that taught most of the guards, as they call themselves, in Brooklyn was Barashim. And Barashim was the one who started the rallies that they used to do on 125th Street. And, you know, they would get up there and talk about mathematics, you know, knowledge born, this, that, and the other. And I remember when the guys came through the block, and the one guy came over to me to tap me, and Barashim said, "Oh no, not that one, not that one," because I would have loved to have been a part of the entourage of Barashim and the rest of the 5%ers, but I was because they acknowledged me. They knew what I was about. Back then in the 70s, remember, we're taking this journey. You had maybe one person that was gay every 20 blocks, north, east, west, south. One person that was openly gay, that you would acknowledge being gay. And back then, there was no such thing as on the DL. Didn't use those letters on the down low. It wasn't. It was trade a little while after, but the original word was Banji. That's why Larry started the House of Banji before he started the House of Ebony. Yeah, you was a Banji boy. That was like DL and Trade Boys. Another thing about the 70s, with the gangs and going to the balls, you know, when we went to the balls, when we got there in the house structured scene, which most people know, it started in 1972. Let me clarify this now. I'm hoping that you new kids that's online, that you are writing stuff down, because again, it's my opinion, but you're gonna learn something if you listen. Crystal LaBeija was in a film called The Queen, and The Queen was in 1968. If you look at the credits in the film, it says Crystal from Manhattan. It described each person in the film in that pageant from wherever they came from, Philadelphia, wherever, but it was Crystal from Manhattan. She had not yet used the last name of LaBeija. She was Crystal from Manhattan. Go find the film, look at the credits. Lottie started the House of LaBeija in 1972, the founder, and made Crystal the mother. So, for the House of LaBeija, a lot of you may have been listening to other people. I'm not calling out names. I'm not being shady. I'm telling you that Lottie founded the house in 1972. Okay? And Crystal was the mother from 72 all the way to 1983. What happened in 1983 was that I gave a ball, my first major ball, and on my flyer, I listed all the mothers. And one of the rhymes I had was Prasia, LaBeija, and then I put Pepper. And Crystal said to Pepper in the hallway at my ball, "Oh, how dare you act like you're the mother?" But Crystal had basically stopped going to balls after around 1982. And she was a little perturbed, but anyway, Pepper at that point was taking care of things, taking care of business, and so Pepper was the mother of the House of LaBeija in 1983. To prove that point, the first video film that was ever filmed of a ball, not a pageant. Remember, the Queen was the pageant. The first ball film was TV Transvestite, and it was filmed around Pepper LaBeija and Dorian Corey's Harlem Fantasy Part 2. They did the first part of Harlem Fantasy Part 1 in 1981. And in 82, they did Part 2, which uh, Simone and McKelly from Italy filmed it. And in the film, Pepper is stating at the beginning, she's the MC, which brings another point about MCs. Pepper was emceeing the ball, and she said, "What am I in the house? Oh, I'm the Duchess. Oh, I'm the I believe she said she was the Duchess." But she says what her title was in 1982. It was the year after she became the mother of LaBeija in 83 at my ball. All right, let's go back to MC. Pepper used to MC her balls. Uh, Kevin Omni, MC'd my balls. Richard Ebony MC'd his balls. He also MC'd my balls, and I also MC'd his balls. R. Chanel MC'd his balls. We all, Michael Princess emceed his balls, both of them 1985 and 1986. William Dupree emceed his balls 1984-85. Paris Dupree from time to time emceed his balls. And Junior emceed some of Paris's balls, and Junior was blessed to be on Paris's Burning when Miss Jenny Livingston was filming. She caught him, but everybody thinks because of he was on the microphone at that ball that he was the first MC or the beginning of MCs. We even had Kenny Chanel who MC'd the balls in the 80s. Okay. Um, so no, Junior was not the first MC. We all MC'd our own balls. Okay. So let's get that straight. Write that down for history. All right. I can't read all the comments because I don't have my glasses on, but as I get into my, spirit, I'll let you know. I want to go back to the 70s. 70s was a time like not only did I bring up the point of my mother disciplining me, and most of our mothers, Larry's mother, all of us, we got disciplined. We got our behinds whooped. We had respect. Every culture outside of the black community respects their parents totally. A lot of kids today, black kids, they don't respect their parents. They don't even want to respect themselves. But we had no choice. Either that or you got your behind kicked. And the reason why I keep bringing that up is because when we started our houses, we had that family instinct. We had that discipline our kids. We had that let's take care of them other than just in the ballroom. We was so much family outside of that ballroom. We, when somebody had a problem, they went to Larry, Larry helped them. Somebody went to Richard, Richard helped them. I remember me and Richard and Larry spending the night at Richard's grandmother's house, Miss Minnie. I call her Aunt Minnie because it sounds good. But Mama Minnie would cook for us, and Larry would wake up, and I'd be on the couch, he'd be wherever, and it'd be the Ebonies and Kevin Omni, and we'd be, hanging out at Richard's house. It was all about family, the way we felt for each other. It was like a real understanding. We didn't just run the streets together. We didn't just go to balls. We didn't just go to clubs. We did everything together. We had breakfast together and everything. And we helped each other out. Money was a thing where it wasn't hard to come by. I was working in Wall Street. Richard was working in Chemical Bank. This brings me to another point. Oh, and RR was working at Black Hair Is, doing hair. And, we did our thing. We did our thing. We worked. But we also had discipline. And no, we weren't perfect. We did some stuff that I won't even get on here and talk about. But we did, because we're human. However, back in the 70s, not only did we have that family instinct for each other, we were concerned about each other in our lives outside of ballroom and clubs. Like if I work, but if I needed $10 or $15 back in the 70s, that was a lot of money. I can go say, Larry, I need $15 and don't have to blink twice. Okay? Or better yet, he can have some money on the dresser and I can say, Larry, I just took $20. That's how it was. That's the feeling I want y'all to understand that we had for each other. When in fact you think about it with the family, today a lot of kids, I don't want to make it like y'all are not family, in 2021. I want for those who have gotten away from that family feeling, that family instinct, to put it back in the community. Because with that family community comes care. And then you start to care. And when you start to care, you start to help. And then as you're helping, everything around us is growing. Everyone is grown, you know. And another thing in the 70s, we didn't have to worry about status. And I'm not even going to put status down. I'm not going to get into that because we already know what has happened with status. What I am going to say is when Kevin Omni hit the floor, you knew it was Kevin Omni. When Larry hit the floor, you knew it was Larry. When R.R. Chanel hit the floor, you knew it was R.R. You knew who we were. I went to California for my first time and got off a plane, and everybody in the ballroom in California knew who Kevin Omni was before I ever even went there. The same thing with Chicago. We want to stay in the 70s. Want to talk? The reason why I'm talking about the 70s is because it was a time that began everything. The beginning, like executive. I see a lot of people. Shout out to, I bet you're gonna gag, Mitch Carbon, Ballman, executive. Did you know that Kevin Omni and William Dupree started executive? Yes. But let me not get ahead of myself. Let me go back to the first House of Ebony Ball. And I always say this because this is my story. The first House of Ebony Ball, September 1982, grand prize realness, because realness seems to be the talk of the town these days. But grand prize for realness at the first realness house, House of Ebony Scandal Part 1, Ebony Scandal Part 1, grand prize was Kevin Omni. Yes, I won realness, but I'm Bed-Stuy do or die. You know what I'm saying? And don't laugh, Larry at the first House of Omni Major Ball in 1983, October, won high fashion evening wear, and he won realness. And I'll never forget Larry had his BVDs on. BVDs were popular in the 70s. He had his BVDs on. He decided to take his pants and drop them in front of the whole ballroom. And you know, they were going up and lusting. But that was Larry Pralo, Larry Ebony. He was never ashamed of his game. And everybody, I don't want to get personal, but we already know that Larry he's real in many ways. And you know, RR had a hard time coming through. A lot of the kids couldn't take RR. But RR never stopped. RR kept bringing it and bringing it and bringing it. And there were times me and RR used to be at each other's throats, and there was times where RR was right there in my corner, and I respect that. And as we gotten older, we know how to be nice to each other. We play nice now, and but I always really cared for RR. I used to get a little bent out of shape when something went wrong, and I didn't know really how to handle it. So maybe oftentimes I would be a little abrupt or what have you. But deep in my heart, I wouldn't want nothing bad to happen to any of my friends. And that's one thing that we had in the 70s, in the beginning of the balls, when RR and Larry and me and, we went Terry Chanel and Kenny Chanel. We all had a love for each other that was unreal. And Erskine too. Now, I want to say this. This is where I kept trying to remember. Where was I supposed to go with this? It goes back to history. Everybody in the ballroom, you got all these groups learning your history. You got Ask the Pioneers. I made a statement. History is more than pictures. History is more than throwing names around. I'm going to repeat that. Very important. Make sure your young kids is writing this down. History is more than pictures. History is more than throwing names around. Because I'm here to tell you, most of the people that throw these names around, they didn't even know these people. They did not know them. Now, that's why I bring in family. I had days where Paris Dupree and my older sister, Paris was born in 1950. He was 8 years older than me. And my sister is 11 years older than me. She was born in 1947. Paris and my sister Linda hit it off from day one. Paris Dupree was like protected me. Paris was mean as far as everybody else would say, because if Paris didn't like you, Paris didn't like you. Me and Paris, unfortunately, I was hurt, and we had our own little personal thing. I don't want to get into that, but basically, through my whole ballroom years before I became Kevin Omni, Paris Dupree was in my life. Paris would be at the clubs, Better Days, be in the back dance floor, be in the mirror, voguing. In 1975, that's when Paris started the House of Dupree. I remember going to Paris's first ball, 1978. It was April in Paris. It was on 116th Street, Mr. Souls. It was called April in Paris. And then later, I believe it was 2 years later, or three, Paris started Paris is Burning Part 1. And it went all the way to Paris is Burning Part 12, or it could have possibly been Paris is Burning Part 14. All right. So let's go back to what I'm saying. You throw names around, but that and pictures, but that's not it. Did you even know the person? One thing I know about Paris is I bought him his Newport cigarettes and I bought him his Pepsi Colas because he was just like my mother. They had to have Pepsi Cola. I remember going to Avis's house. My mother lived, after moving out of Brooklyn into Harlem, 2 blocks from Avis. Avis lived on 157th Street between Amsterdam and Broadway. It was a block with a hill. And Avis suffered from gout and cholesterol, high blood pressure. And I'll imitate Avis, my famous imitation. I'll go to the store for her. It's 95 degrees outside, okay? And her block is a hill. And I got to go to the store. And I come back with her cookies. And she go, Kevin Omni, didn't I tell you that I wanted Nabisco fat-free, cholesterol-free cookies? And I'd be like, in my mind, bitch. Now I got to walk back down that motherfucking hill. Okay, but I would do it. And I spent many a days over there. Avis came to my mother's house, sold my mother some curtains. Um, Avis would, when her doorbell would ring, and I would go to the door, and she would say, who's that at the door? I said, that's Miss Pepper. She said, Kevin, go get my material and hide my material. She coming over here to see what I'm doing for grand prize. And I said, Kiki. So I go take her material and throw it in the closet. And thank God, and God bless, and never forget, Gerald Dupree, that was his real name, from the House of LaBeija, Gerald Dupree LaBeija, because he bought material to Avis, Pepper, Dorian, Paris. He was the material, he was a material girl, okay? But Gerald was really a big part of Ballroom because he supplied a lot of the fabrics. Um, I remember days when Pepper was on her way to the doctors and she would get off the BX6, the Bronx 6 bus on Amsterdam Avenue and 155th Street in Harlem. And I would come down from my mother's house and go with her to her appointments. I remember the many a days sitting on the pier and me and Pepper just reading each other in a key form. Not no hate, not no who's fab. It wasn't none of that. It was just like, Miss Pepper, shut up. You know what I mean? And she was like, coming on me, come here. You know. And then getting back to Richard. The times me and Richard was in the village, this is the 70s. And I used to wear the pencil waves, not finger waves, pencil waves. They were like really nice. Finger waves are for females, they're fat. And I remember times where me and Susan would be in Susan Ebony, Susan Payne, would be in the McKay's hair spot. She'd be getting her hair done. I'll be getting my hair done. Okay. And me and Susan would go to block parties all throughout Brooklyn, and we would dress alike. Susan would have one all green. I have one all green. Susan had one all yellow. I have one all yellow. And we partied. We were family. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of things that people don't know. You throw people's names around, but you don't even know these people. Like the many times that I played cards on that chest that had that dead body in it and Miss Dorian's. Um, of course I didn't know. Um, and I remember most of the times that Dorian came to a ball, she always sat at the Omni table. And I remember sometimes when she would drink and she'd hit her head on the table. And then I'd be like, Miss Dorian, she'd go, oh, what's going on? What's going on? What category are we on? You know? And and I guess maybe she was drinking like that because she had a secret, you know? You never know. You go through life and you learn and you live and you go on and you just try to make do. But one thing about us back then, we all helped one another. Like I would sell tickets for Richard's balls, vice versa. I would sell tickets for Avis's ball, vice versa. Same thing with R. Chanel. We supported each other, and we didn't have to be the best of friends, even though we were, because when it came to the balls and making sure the balls were going to go on, if we didn't have that attitude, the balls would not be where they are today. We went to people's balls regardless to whether or not. Hold on. You said I broke up. Wait a minute, Larry. You said I broke up. You talking about my voice or okay? Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Somebody let me know in a comment. Y'all can hear me. Hello. Oh, okay. Thank you, Larry. So, getting back to how we were in the '70s, it was just like we knew each other. We met each other. We didn't just talk about, oh, Miss Avis turned it for grand prize, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't know this. New kids, I keep saying the same thing. Get your pieces of paper, write stuff down, because I'm giving you the jewels right now. You know, getting back to that family thing was also knowing each other, knowing each other, and loving each other, and arguing with each other and fighting with each other, getting over it, and then back in each other's faces. And that's what we did. And then at the beginning of the balls, notice that I'm trying to stay on the family structure of what needs to be in each of the houses again. Some houses have it, some houses don't. But to get back into that family structure of caring about people outside of a ball, outside of a category. Like, is that person okay in life? Now, we should be concerned about that now because of all the people that's dying. And let's have a moment of silence. I'm going to do this for Jahara, Aga, and Derek LaBeija. And there's other people that I have forgot, but that just passed away. Let's have a moment of silence just for them, a moment. Okay, we have to look out for one another because that moment of silence made me mindful to think about it's not just drugs, it's not just the murders, the high murder rate of transgenders, it's also the murder rate of LGBT people, period. Point blank, period. We have to look out for one another because you know something, we can fight each other, argue, but take an example from the '70s ballroom and the early '80s. Take an example from the white era, from the overall pioneers. You know, one lesson I want to leave with people too is that, with this status, like I said, back then when Larry hit the floor, you knew it was Larry. When I hit the floor, you knew it was me. When RR hit the floor, you knew it was RR. Okay? When Erskine hit the floor, you knew it was Erskine. All right? And another thing about Erskine, most people don't know. Erskine always had a beautiful smile. He smiled all the time. And he's a very nice person. You know what I miss also about that family structure back in the '70s and the early '80s was that when we went to a ball, The House of Omni will tell you. Kevin Omni bought fried chicken and macaroni salad and garden salad. That was my thing. I had to feed my kids. So we didn't pay for tables. We did not pay for tables. It was bring your own brown bag. And yes, there were members outside the House of Omni that came over and ate my chicken. Okay? And my tuna macaroni salad. And God bless Fila Omni, because sometimes he did the chicken. But we bought our own brown bags. And we didn't charge people. I'm not saying that because that was then. This is now. But then we had, like, this person bought the napkins, that Brian Omni bought the plates, Michael Omni bought the ketchup and the condiments. We had family. It was family values. Richard bought his food. The Ebonies bought their food. The LeBages came in with. It was like going to a feast at a ball. Not only did you sell tickets and have tickets to come in, you sat at whatever table, first come, first serve. You got there first, you got the first table. That made people come to the balls early, even though they still started late. But it was still that family. It was still that I know you. When I see people put up posts, okay, here's one for the road, or I hope you listening. Larry, I hope you listening. And I wrote it down. Someone put on my glasses because, I got to check my paper and make sure. Y'all like my glasses? Okay, I'm looking for a special part of my writing. It's not there. Okay, I want to get into this. I look at, and you know what happens is I wrote this stuff not because I have nothing better to do, but people send me inboxes. They ask me questions. They want to interview me. They want to talk about whatever. Yes, Landon, we had the Omni family picnics every year, and that was a key within itself. But we always had an Omni picnic. We did 10 picnics in Central Park by Strawberry Field and East 86th Street, used to be Gimbals. Then we did 10 picnics at Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and we did that. And we had that love and that togetherness. In my later years, I entertained my family by cooking for them. Kai, Brian and Michael, Derek, Dana, Tanya, Muhammad. They all know. They know I get in that kitchen and do my thing. But this is what I wanted to talk about. Because somebody brought it to my attention. There was a post about the 5 mothers. All right, I'm going to talk to you. They always put Paris, Avis, Dorian, Pepper, and Angie Extrava. And guess what? Yes, they were mothers of the ballroom, but there were so many more. Let's not forget that their lives were just as important. Now, yes, I love all of them, but again, like I said, throwing names around. I know that October the 12th was Angie Extravaganza's birthday because her and I celebrated our birthdays together a few times. All right? Again, with me in Paris, with me and Avis and Pepper and Dorian. I didn't just know of them from Ballroom, I knew them outside of Ballroom. But I want to talk about the other mothers. You had Banji, Angie, Infinity. And the reason I mentioned Banji, Angie, Infinity is because she really took care of the Infinity children. She was Ross's right hand, Ross Infinity. Angie Infinity, she gave love and she was there for her children. Feed them, dress them, and make them go to school. All right? Then you had La Duchess Wong, who was a mother, who is a mother. Okay? Then you had the Butch Queen mothers. You had Richard Ebony. And Richard did everything for the House of Ebony, right along with Larry. And Larry had Richard's back. Richard had Larry's back, and they both had Kevin Omni's back, and I got their back, and I got Richard's back while he's in heaven. You have Rose Princess. Rose did a lot for Margot, DeRay, the House of Princess, Michael, and all of them. Miss Rose Princess was a mother. So I guess my point is, and then you had Rhonda Plenty. And then you had Rhonda Plenty was the House of Plenty was from Brooklyn. And then you had J. Dior. Everybody never mentions J. Dior, but the House of Dior reigned supreme with their femme queens. Their femme queens were over. Sharonda, Robin, Kim, Campy Dior, and then they had a butch queen named Vance Dior. Just like there was a Bobby Wong in the House of Wong that used to vogue all the time. And, you know, we had a lot of people that came through the ballroom that made ballroom what it is. And then getting back to executive, me and William Dupree, we basically created that category because we entertained. And so shout out again to Mitch Corbin. Um, Shout out to my sons, Ralph Prepetit Omni, who the House of Omni kept executive. And I was working in Wall Street and I was proud. And that was one of the reasons I had a hard time being accepted when it came from Brooklyn to Uptown because I spoke with complete sentences and some people didn't like it. And it's not shade, it's just the truth. And I worked and I didn't have to ask for nothing. And I always had receipts for everything that I had on. And even when I walked executive, I always proved and pull out my own credit cards with my own name on it, identification, and I even pulled out credit reports to see how much I could spend, let them know how much I could spend on each card. When they say bring it, I bought it. When they said realness, I came. And I walked many different categories. A lot of categories. Kids don't know. Butch Queen First Time in Drag. If you go to the first film ever of TV Transvestite, I'm in that beautiful blue dress with the split. And I couldn't get into my Norma Kamali that Larry and Richard came busting through the door, but they didn't get uptown fast enough. And I was not coming out of those stockings and that bra that had the, I forgot what my bra was. Oh, it was water balloons. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had water balloons. And I want anybody that think that a few people have said, oh, Kevin act transphobic. Bitch, I was up in heels back in 1982. Okay? It ain't no secret. I walk that category. I walk sinister eyes. I walk face. I walk face over 30. I walk face over 40. Legendary face. Icon face. And at the CD70s ball, of course, there's a category in my honor. Pioneer face. Well, no, not Pioneer face, because that would just be me and Brian Omni, and that's about it. Oh, and Michael Omni. Let me stop. But anyway, getting back to family. Yes, Yolanda, it's all about family. And, you know, and it's all about, so instead of these posts saying the five mothers of ballroom, don't forget to include people like the mothers like J. Dior, Richard Ebony, Rhonda Plenty, Angie Infinity, and Rose Princess, and La Duchess Wong. Now let's go to me and Duchess. Duchess was going, her partner and my partner, they were brothers. And me and Duchess spent many a night sipping tea, okay, and spending the night with our partners. So we had our own relationship. I had my relationship with Avis. I had my relationship with Duchess. And I remember Duchess loved steak because she would drag me to Gristides down on 14th Street. And we would go eat. Shout out to Duchess. I'm going to tell you something. I've had many a moments. Okay, and I'm going to, okay, so again, I'll repeat it one more time. It's not just five mothers. It's not just Paris, Avis, Pepper, and Dorian, and Angie Extrava. It's Angie Infinity. It's J. Dior. It's La Duchess Wong. It's Rose Princess. It's Richard Ebony. And it's Rhonda Plenty. Now, the grandfather of that ballroom is Marcel Christian. Please write that down. Marcel Christian created the Idol Sheets, which was everything that happened in 1985 to 1987 in ballroom. And Marcel was born in 1942. He was able to go at the age of 13 to his first ball at the Rockland Ballroom in 1955. Marcel attended. But see, back then it was a different world. It was a different era. You got to remember, they didn't need ID. I didn't even need ID when I went out in 1973. You know, and then when you did need ID around 74, 75, you could go to Times Square in New York, 42nd Street, and get some ID. But back then, Marcel was going to his first ball at the Rockland Ballroom in 1955 at the age of 13. And now, when they tore the Rockland Ballroom down, they built the Polo Ground Projects where Erskine grew up. All right, let's get back to something else. Okay, so I did the first MCs. So again, for people that didn't hear, because a lot of people get it wrong, the first MCs of the ballroom were Richard Ebony, Kevin Omni, William Dupree, Kenny Chanel, Paris Dupree, Michael Princess, Pepper LaBeija, Junior LaBeija. I don't know where y'all keep saying Junior was the first MC, because he was not. And I'm not insulting him. I don't want anybody to take what I'm giving you and acting like I'm reading somebody. I'm not reading anyone. I'm just giving you the facts. We emceed our own balls. Junior was very blessed to have been filmed for the Paris is Burning film. And that's why people got it in their heads that he was the first MC, but that's not true. So get that together. And again, remember, there's more than just five ballroom mothers who made a difference, who nurtured their houses and their kids. This is why we talk about history, because you kids today in 2021, now we don't want to hear about what happened in the 70s, but y'all going to be doing the same thing by the time 2040 comes, because the kids going to try to erase your history. And like Larry said, we're not dead. Now, there's another thing about ballroom. I loved all of my friends. I miss all of them. All of them. Avis, Pepper, all of them. But like I said, I didn't throw their names around. I sat down and broke bread with them. I went out with them. We didn't just go to balls. We were family friends. My point is, we treated each other right. And we loved each other. And we had a good time creating this ballroom. And we're not dead. Okay, they're gone and you give them tribute, but please, Larry, you're gonna love this. Please don't act like me and Larry and RR are dead. We're not dead. Don't wait till we die and then you'll want to talk about, oh, Kevin Omni was too much. Oh, I used to hang out with Kevin Omni. This and never. I always say, give me my flowers so I can smell them. But say hello. Say how you doing. Why don't you even say, are you all right? Another thing, like Larry said, we the pioneers go to your balls. I don't go, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm in my 60s, you know, and, you know, Erskine's in his 60s, Larry's in his 60s. We're in our 60s. My thing is, if we do go to a ball, how come we don't have that VIP? Very important people. How come we don't have a table? We are the era that gave you the balls. We are the era that created these categories for you to continue and enjoy. So a pioneer should not have to sit outside. or on a line or stand in a corner. Every other culture, Chinese, Philippine, they all treat their parents with love. They treat their parents with respect. They honor their pioneers and their superiors. They don't curse them out and talk back to them. Like I said at the beginning, if I looked at my mother the wrong way, she'd take a wet dish rag and go across my mouth. And that was painful. It'd cut your lip. So when you see the pioneers or you invite the pioneers or you act like the pioneers, thank you. That's what we want, a thank you. Okay? Brings me to why I started using the word pioneer. And it's no shade. I said for the white era, because we went through the struggles, because we went through the family love of supporting each other with tickets, selling tickets, and being there for each other outside of the ballroom, in the clubs, out the clubs, and just making sure that even if we didn't like this one or that one, support their balls, put money into it, because that's what made the balls grow. Without that, it would be no balls today. So the pioneers deserve a thank you. And that's what pioneer means. Now, just like status, everybody's an icon now. Everybody's a legend. Remember what I said at the beginning. We didn't even have to go through all that. You got on the floor, they knew Larry Ebony. They knew R.R. Chanel. They knew Kevin Omni. They knew Erskine Christian. They didn't say the legendary this, the icon that, the pioneer this or that. They didn't have to say it. It was already known. My name superseded me before I went to California and Chicago. They knew who Kevin Omni was when I landed. But I don't have to put the tag every 24/7 everywhere. You know, but sometimes within this community, being that the ballroom community has become disenfranchised, it's a thing where, well, not become disenfranchised, are disenfranchised because we don't stick together. We don't think. Like Octavia said in How Do I Look? Some of these girls, they're just mean. They don't want to help each other. They don't wish you well. And you have a lot of people in competitive sports, entertainment competition, ballroom, that just get this wrong perception of how it should be. Like, I must hate you because you walk in my category. Or I must hate you because you turned it last time. And I can't wait, and I hope you don't show up so I can turn it out. You know, this is not the way it should be. When we carried on, we bought it. You know, they used to tell me, I told somebody, I said, Miss Avis came and turned it. Miss Avis walked my first major ball and won grand prize. And they said, well, Kevin, what did she do? I said, she bought everything. And somebody said, but the kitchen sink. I said, no, I saw some knobs and a faucet. She bought everything and the kitchen sink. Okay. I've had the greats walk my ball and win. Avis walked my first ball, won grand prize for high fashion evening wear. And the last ball that she walked before she died was my Mark Ballroom, 1994. She won grand prize, futuristic. She won many of my balls. The ball that I always brag about is the ball, my tracks ball, which was Legend Statements and Stars Part 1. Okay, let me go here again. I themed Legend Statements and Stars like Paris Dupree themed Paris is Burning, like Pepper and Dorian did Harlem Fantasy, like Larry did Ebony and Richard did Ebony Scandal. We all, and then Avis did Autumn and Winter. My balls with Legend Statements and Stars, Part 1, all the way to Part 10. 1989 at Trax, New York City, on 19th Street. April the 15th, 1989. Legends, Statements, and Stars. The first time it was ever put together, those words. Kenny Ebony Felder started calling Legend Statements and Stars in 1993. It was to get the people to get up and walk like LSS so that, before the ball started, so you would have something to do. But the thing was Kevin Omni.
Legend Statements and Stars Part 1 all the way to Part 10. Part 2 was the Red Zone Ball in 1990. Part 3 was in 1992 at the Lincoln Square, Legend Statements and Stars Part 3. All of this was Kevin Omni. Then they started doing LSS in 1993. So there's a video out where Kenny and I think Jack are saying, oh, well, Kenny is the one who started Legend Statements and Stars. He started calling people on the floor, but the theme came from me. Want to make sure that historical fact is a fact. Just like I started the Lifetime Achievers, Icons, Legend Statements and Stars Status Ball Part 1 in 2003. I did 2005 with Willie Ninja, and people don't know this. Willie Ninja, the only ball he ever gave was with Kevin Omni in 2005. I'm going to talk about him for a minute. Willie, because when I talk about this, I want y'all to really get into this. Like, it goes back to what I've been saying all night. You could throw names around, but that's not history. History is not just throwing people's names around and throwing pictures around. Willie and I gave this ball in December 2005, but October of 2005, Willie was real sick. Willie took care of his mother. And me and Willie talked on the phone all the time. Now, Willie was sick, and he was very private, and he was very afraid to go get help. I wrote a story about it, and I called it Suffering in Silence. Suffering in silence because he didn't want to go to any of the agencies to get help or financial assistance because he was a dancer, because he took care of his mother, because he traveled the world, because he was a creator. But he would rather for people not to know that he was sick. So he knew that if he went to any of the agencies, that the children, that's why this is named The Children Are Talking, the children are always talking. And he knew that if he went in there and told somebody his status, that they would, in fact, turn around. Do y'all still hear me? Y'all still hear me? Somebody let me know if y'all could still hear me. Okay, I see you, Yolanda, but I don't know if anybody else can hear me. And I just got a phone call from my son. Okay, thank you, Larry, because Kai just called me. So anyway, Willie didn't have to die if he would have got help earlier. And let me tell you what he did. Shout out to Labelina down in Florida, Ninja. Willie came to the ball that night and he carried on. I know that he was in the hospital. Barbara Tucker, shout out to Barbara Tucker, she gave him a party in November of 2005. And that party was to raise money for him. And at the ball, Willie did his thing, the ball went on. And I got ready to leave the ball, and Willie says, I wrote you a letter. And I said, really? He said, here. He said, you read it when you get home. Do not open it until you get home. When I got home, I opened it. I said, let me read this letter. It was a piece of paper wrapped around $1,000. He said, I wasn't able to help you promote and do what you did. And this is what I wanted to do for you. That's who Willie Ninja is. I started crying. Because that's Ballroom. That's Richard Ebony. That's Larry Ebony. That's R.R. Chanel. That's the real Ballroom. For Willie to do that, But yet people will say, Willie Ninja, Willie Ninja, Willie Ninja. No, I know Willie Ninja. I knew Willie Ninja. I'm going to tell you another story. Danielle. Danielle Revlon started out in the house of Omni. I have two Dereks. Pioneer Derek, who's still with us, and Danielle was Derek Omni also. And Danielle went to join the House of Princess, not because we had a fight or anything, but because Danielle wanted to transition, and I was masculine. I wasn't going to sit down in in a doctor's office about estrogen and stuff like that. That wasn't me. It just wasn't me. So Danielle decided to go to Princess. But let me tell you what Danielle did. So during the time that Richard Ebony, may rest in peace, my buddy, Richard got sick and he needed some money. So I decided to do a fundraiser ball for him in Brooklyn. That was September 1997. And RR was there, Terry Chanel, Makuta, Michael Princess, uh, David, Ultima, all the Omnis came from Chicago, all the Ebonies was there, even what's his name, Chanel, who passed away, Tony, Realness Tony. Um, so that night, Danielle walked and she won her category. And I went up to her and I said, Danielle, here. And she looked at me because the category was, I think it was like $300. And she looked at me when I gave her the envelope. She said, what are you giving me that for? I said, Danielle, you won the category. It was 300. She said, you're giving a fundraiser ball for Richard. Why would I take your money? That's what she said. Why would I take your money? That's ballroom. That's old school. That's family. And Danielle was in the House of Omni in 1982. She was in the House of Omni from 1982 to 84. Then she became Princess. Then she became Mother Revlon. I mean, I've had a lot of firsts. I've had, shout out to Devin. All started in the House of Omni. Now Elite. Man Prodigy was Man Omni. His first house was Ultra Omni. First house for Devin, Ultra Omni. First house for Eric Omni, Grams Mugler, who's no longer here, Omni. Anjanae was an Omni. Before her first house was Omni, before Milan and Mugler. When I look back, this is why I respect the Muglers as my grandchildren. Harold's my grandson. I believe Rodney came from Prodigy. I'm not sure, but if he is, then he's my grandson. And the Ballmans are my great grandchildren. Shout out to the Ballmans. Okay, I'm not forgetting my shout outs tonight. Shout out to Makai, Nova, Mitch. Shout out to Miko. It's nice meeting you, Miko. Calm yourself down, though. Don't let the ballroom get you pissed off or whatever. Do your thing and serve. And of course, Malik, shout out to you, because it wouldn't be right if I didn't. Hey, how you doing, Sherrod Andrews, Love Asia? Okay, so we got that straight. There were more mothers than just 5 mothers in the ballroom. Now, again, pioneers was the white era. I had a debate with Andre. Andre Mizrahi knows I love him. I hope you're listening, Andre. He knows I love him there. I'm there for him. I'll support him. He is a sweetheart, and he's a key. Oh, I love talking to Andre on the phone. When I told Andre, I said, you're not a pioneer. He said, oh, no, Miss RR deemed me a pioneer. I said, well, I don't think RR understood. And I'm saying that, and RR's online too. And it's not shade. I'm not reading. I'm saying that the white era who did the struggles are the overall ballroom pioneers. But you got other people running around calling themselves, I'm the pioneer of this city, I'm the pioneer of that. Can't we, since you screwed up the status, can't we, the white era, the family who created these categories, went through all the nonsense so that you could have a ballroom, can't we have a privilege? It's not a status, it's a badge of honor to be called a ballroom pioneer. It doesn't make us better than you, it doesn't make us lesser than you. What it makes us is appreciative, that you appreciate us for doing what we did. Simple. Simple. A, B, C, D, E, like that. All right, so there's more than five mothers. Oh, let's talk about the face category. So somebody brought this to my attention too. So there was a post and it was about face. It was about people that walk wash face. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to explain something to you. When we first started face back in the days, it was painted versus unpainted. Okay? Miss Tennille Reed Dupree had a famous saying. You have to have a canvas in order to paint. That means whether it's butterflies or a side of a building or whatever, it needs to be something in order to paint. So if you don't have no face, then it comes to my quote. Thank you, Miss Reed, for you need a canvas to paint. My quote is, you can paint a brick red, you can paint a brick blue, you can paint a brick green, but it's still a brick. A painted brick is a painted brick. So, my other thing is, why is it always the kids who never walk face or can't walk face so judgmental when it comes to the face children? They always got something to say about face. And it's no shade. You don't even have the nerve to get on the floor and compete. Hell, I'll be 63 in October and I still probably could walk. No, what I'm saying, probably. I still could walk face against some of you kids. Now let's talk about how it was. When you write this down, all you new school children, because I see you list certain people for wash face, then they have walked once or twice. All right? And that's it. But you had people that walked consistently and nonstop. You had people like who made the flyers. If your name was on a flyer in the early 80s as an example to the category, or your name was on the flyer. Look, my name was on the flyer for Best Dressed Man. It was a Kevin Omni look. And that was at an Ebony Ball too. Part 2, 1983. The category was looking for a Kevin Omni look. I'm flattered, I'm loved, and I'm not conceited, I'm convinced. Just like the category was called, this is the category we wanted to see, Kevin Omni versus William Dupree, R.R. Chanel, 1984. Now, if you were on the flyer, consistently on the flyers, that's when you knew that you were a contender of face, because you were always listed. And it went a little something like this. Let me clear my throat. Floyd Ebony, Ira Aphrodite, Michael Dupree, Michael Princess, Erskine Christian, David Ultimate, Stuart Ebony, Michael Ebony, Anthony Ebony, Robert Dupree, Brian Omni, Derek Omni, and Whitney Mugler. Your name made the flyer all the time, and it was like that. Oh, and I forgot, and Kevin Omni. I didn't write my name on there, so, but I'm not going to deny myself. Yeah, so those were the names you heard on the flyers consistently, constantly, and always. Oh, and Alan Adonis. Can't forget Alan. That's my chocolate baby. I love Alan. Floyd Ebony, Ira Aphrodite, Alan Adonis, Whitney Mugler, Erskine Christian, Michael Dupree, Michael Princess, David Ultima, Stuart Ebony, Michael Ebony, Anthony Ebony, Robert Dupree, Brian Omni, Derek Omni. And there was one I forgot who's no longer with us, Derek Princess. And you know what? Who else was face and he was cute? He was more of a realness, I don't know, pretty boy. Julius Princess. Yes, Julius Princess. So I hope y'all wrote those names down. And then Sherrod said, all right for the history of the Elks Lounge. Elks Lodge. Lodge. Lodge, Sherrod. Now, let me talk about the Elks Lodge real quick. We had many ballrooms before we went to the Elks Lodge. We had ballrooms in Brooklyn. We had the Crystal Ballroom. We had the Golden Terrace Ballroom. We had the Uptown Social Club on 145th Street. We had the Roller Rock Skating Ring on 135th Street and Broadway, all before the Elks Lodge. Just for history. Mark Ballroom as well. Okay? I'm just letting you guys know that there's a lot of ballroom history, but it's not about anything more than just knowing who's who and what's what, and giving respect to your elders and loving your elders, because we're still here. You know, Erskine's still here. I'm still here. RR's here. Terry's here. We're all still here. We're alive. Don't just give us our flowers. Invite us out. Say hello. Come on our page. Say something. You look good today. God bless you today. Something. You know what I'm saying? I do my best to support all the kids from the House of Demure, Versailles, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I wanted to do the upcoming events. I'm glad you're here. Derek, Omni, and myself, we are giving a fundraiser event in October, but I see that RR is giving an event on Saturday, October 9th. And even though my birthday's the 8th, me and Derek decided to move it back for the fundraiser event on Staten Island, October 2nd. So please write that down. There's a fundraiser event we're doing in Staten Island. The venue is everything. I'll give you more as time goes on. But it's Derek Omni and me, myself. And it's an agency that's doing it. And we were going to do the 9th, but RR and I think someone else is doing the 9th. So this is how we have to work in this day and time. The pandemic, we lost so many people. To be catty and petty is not the way to go. So I'm proud to say that we're moving our fundraiser ball to the week before on October 2nd, which I will celebrate my 63rd birthday. And RR's ball will be October 9th. Okay? So is that straight? Everybody got that straight? All right. Now let me tell you something. I talked about all of this as far as the 70s and the pioneers and, you know, the tables and how we did things back then. I'm going to talk about me giving back to the community. I give back to the community. And getting back to Andre Mizrahi, I want to say that that's my baby. He's an iconic icon. And shout out to Stuart. Stuart, I enjoyed our conversation, me, you, and Larry. I can't wait for us to have another one. I can't wait to see all you guys next month at the CD70s Ball. Sunday, June 27th. Chill Ebony, I see you there. Sean, I'm going to see you there. Everybody that's on here watching. Father Pioneer Mike Trills, I know you watching. He's sponsoring the body category. Shout out to Wolfgang from How Do I Look? And I want to get into Pose and I want to get into Legendary. And it's not going to be long and drawn out. It's going to be to the point. and it's not going to be shade. Okay. I when Larry did his live, I was never so proud of Larry because it's always Kevin Omni that was the one that every time somebody say, "Here go Kevin Omni," putting in him and his him and his thousand times. You know, he talks. He says it 1,000 times, and I would tell people, "Good, I'm gonna say it 1,001." So for Larry to feel the way he felt, he was feeling from inside. He was feeling from his heart. He was expressing to you his frustration. After I just told you how we spent nights at Minnie's house and Richard's house, and we just ate and we were always together. And you know, when you look at Pose, I don't watch Pose. I watched the first episode and it made me emotional. It made me emotional because when they did the scene with the museum, that was my friend Raymond Johnson Ebony. And Raymond created that story. And Raymond lived in Bushwick section of Brooklyn, which when I moved from Bed-Stuy, I moved to Bushwick. He lived in the Flushing Avenue projects, and I was on Halsey Street. But me and Raymond were very close, and I used to go visit him. You know, um, it made me emotional because it's like our story being told. Then the thing about Dorian, you know, now you're exploiting that. You know what I'm saying? So me and mostly all of the pioneers and the older icons do not watch Pose because that's our story. And I'm not upset because you're out there. It's like you got actors, you got kids out here now thinking that that's ballroom, and it is, but it's our ballroom. And a lot of you guys take credit for it, and it's not a sin, but it's like you never come back and say thank you to the ones who are the creators. No, it doesn't belong to no one person. It does not belong to me alone. It does not belong to Larry alone. It belongs to us as a community. And just like, let me run this to you. Please write these figures. Jenny Livingston sold Paris is Burning for $3.5 million. $3.5 million. She sold it to Miramax Film, and they made over 250 million. And Avis and all of them died with $1,200. $1,200. That don't sound fair. I wasn't in the film, and I'm not in all those pictures because I didn't sign the release. I graduated high school, and I graduated out of New York City Community College. Later on, I went back to school for 3 years. I'm well educated. I'm academically inclined. I read the fine print. And it was supposed to be a thesis for Miss Jenny, but then it turned into a documentary that was released. And she didn't come back and bring not one dime to the community. But all the children in the agencies, the shady children, oh, we're going to watch Paris is Burning. We're going to watch this. We're going to watch that. You keep giving it so much praise. But that's what was done. She got 3.5 million. My friends died homeless and penniless. $1,200. How about that? And yet you praise it. Paris is burning. Paris is burnt. That's what it is. It's burnt. Then how about Madonna? Love you. You did Come On in Vogue, Truth or Dare. You made millions. I don't want to tell the person's business because they're alive, but her dancer, or sirs with an S, from the ballroom community, unless you're really close to them, you would know how much they got. And believe me, just believe me, it wasn't millions. Now, I don't know how much Pose is paying those actors, but I want to get away from that because that's petty. I want to talk about something that I did. In 2012, we did a 30th anniversary for the film TV Transvestite. Never was screened before. It was the 30th year from 1982 to 2012. At the end of the night, the producers gave me money. And that started the Kevin Omni Burris Funeral / Burial Fund, which if you go on my website, iconkevinomni.com, you'll see the people that benefited from the burial fund. And I asked for donations from the ballroom children over and over and over. $5, $10, $15, $2. Can you imagine if everybody in the ballroom gave $2 to my burial fund? You know how much money we would have to help people out with their burial? Now, don't get me wrong. I have 2 insurance policies, so I don't need the burial fund for myself. But I started that burial fund for the ballroom community, and I can't get no help. And then you got somebody like Jenny Livingston. You think maybe out of $3.5 million, she'll say, well, here's $100,000 for the burial fund for people who struggle that die in the community. Wake up, grow up, get educated, get off of that, oh, I'm going to turn it out at the ball, and that's all it means. Get off of that, you Vogue femme, you're a twister, you're this, you're that, you're an MC, you're this, you're that. Care about one another. Care about each other. Do something to show people that you love them. Get that family love. Because when I tell you that this is really sad that we have to go through all of this nonsense with people using this community and capitalizing off this community, but it's nothing new. They do it in the music industry. Just make all the money, okay? And then the people have to do what they gotta do when they do concerts, they make money. The same thing with the NFL. You got all the major league owners making the money. Now, every time I come to the ballroom community, everybody, okay, fine. Tyra and all of them have jobs. That's a good thing. But what about these producers and people behind the scenes that's making all this money and ain't nothing coming back to the community? You know, like I said, I got a burial fund that I can't even get the kids to donate $5. I'm gonna thank these people right now for donating to the burial fund. Stuart Ebony, Rashid, the White Princess. It's a shame that I can remember because I know how many have given and how many haven't. So if you'd like to donate, you can call Wolfgang Bush, hit him up on Facebook, and you could donate $5, $3, whatever. Because when we lose somebody and they don't have family and we need to bury them, it's good to know that we have some kind of money to contribute. We can't pay for the whole thing, but we can contribute some. And I feel good about the ones that I did contribute before to. So I just wanted to bring that point across, and I want everybody to start being more active in life with what's going on in these Black communities of ours. You know, the filibuster and all these Republicans and GOP, start doing something. Write something, call somebody, protest, do whatever you got to do, but make it happen. I'm looking on my sheet to see if I forgot anything else. Oh, and I want to talk about, okay, so we had Paris is Burning, we got Pose, we got HBO Legendary. My point to all of that is congratulations to their success. I don't watch it. Many of the people I know don't watch it, but that's because we have personal feelings about it. And not one of them have given any of us any kind of indication that we are worthy for all that we did, because they're telling our story and they're being rewarded for what we did. And for all you people out there in ballroom world or the community that think that Pose and HBO Legendary is us, you always have to come back home. That's if you're allowed to come back home. You know, those people that move out and then they think it's all about them, and then all of a sudden they find themselves back where they came from, but they forgot where they came from. You always have to come back to the beginning, one way or another, because the truth don't lie. And this is why I keep history together and intact. Because I personally cannot, hey David, what's up? I cannot sit up here and begin to tell you how things have changed. So now I'm getting ready to get off because I done made me some spaghetti and turkey meatballs and sausages, and I'm getting ready to go eat. But I'm going to not get off until I remind you guys that the CD70s ball, after I told you all about how the 70s were and how we were disciplined and how we were family, that's the essence that's going into the CD70s ball in Richmond, Virginia. My son Kai, he's got a beautiful heart. He wants the best for everybody. He wants you to come and serve this ball and turn it. I definitely can't wait to meet everybody. If you see me at the ball and you have not formally introduced yourself to me, feel free to come up and, talk to me. I won't bite you, you know. If anything, I'll give you a hug. And listen, I'm also single. And don't think I'm letting you know I'm single, okay? So I'm single because I just want to be single. It ain't because I have any problems. But I just want you to know that I love all of you guys. And I just want you to keep it real. I want you to understand something that, like, when Larry was doing his video, he wasn't trying to put nobody down. And, he was just very upset because we've been through so much. We've lost so many friends. I know I personally lost over 600 friends just to AIDS alone. And that's not just the ballroom community. That's the club community. I've been a part of New York City club life for years, from 1986, and I would say all the way up to 2019. I've still been hosting parties and stuff. So what I want y'all to understand is that you new parents, love these kids. Love them. Be with them outside of the ballroom. Don't worry about just getting their outfits together. Be concerned if they're doing crystal meth. Be concerned if they're depressed. Watch yourselves going in these hotels with trade, because when the drugs are gone, things happen. They're not the same person that you went in the hotel with or that you invited in your home and you closed your door and you allowed them inside. Remember that. Remember to take care of yourself. Eat right. Live good. Do the best you can. And you know something? Turn the other cheek. So y'all get ready for the CD70s ball, Richmond, Virginia, Sunday, June 27th. We're going to have a party Saturday, June 26th. Remember, October 2nd will be the fundraiser ball in Staten Island, New York. Kevin Omni's hosting, Derek Omni and Dana Omni. And then October 9th is ours ball in New York. And don't forget the Ballman Ball, Labor Day weekend. Well, we already, ain't nobody and their mother gonna forget the Ballman Ball. And I'm gonna tell you something. Those Ballmans, y'all my great grandkids. If Rodney started out in the House of Prodigy, I don't know. But if he did, then that makes y'all my great grandkids. And so it's good to even know who your family is. Jovan, I didn't forget you. Javon, I did not forget you. Congratulations. Congratulations to Makai. Miko, you look good. Malik, you look good. Nova, you got it going on. And Mitch Carbon. Oh, wait a minute. There's a friend of mine online that I didn't get a chance. Maine Milan. Shemaine, if you ask me. You heard me, Shemaine? Man, you heard what I said? If you ask me. And that's only if you ask me. And if you want to know the answer to that, you have to talk to me privately. But I love you. And I love the way you carry on, man. I love your pictures, everything. Miko, I like your pictures too. I've been getting into them. And Malik, I see you a lot. You're doing very well. Um, Marquise Forster, I think he's really good seamstress. Shout out to my seamstress, Wardell Avant Garde in Chicago, and Jose Disla Extravaganza. Shout out to Anthony Extravaganza if you're listening. um, I'm just going over this paper to make sure that I didn't forget anything at all, and I didn't. So I want you guys to just love the pioneers, treat everybody with respect. Remember, there are more than five mothers. Remember, there are more than one original MC. Oh, you hear me, Charmaine? You know something, man? I don't know what I'm going to do with you. Your pictures be carrying, and I be loving them. But sometimes they be carrying. I want to give a shout out to Erskine. Erskine, I love you. And you know what? Erskine was the one who gave the very first Legends Ball in New York City in 1984. Him and Nefer Fran Dupree. And, you know, there's a lot of history and a lot of love. But remember, don't wait until we're dead. You know what I'm saying? You got, oh, excuse me. Kai said, icon Charmaine Collins. Oh, I love you too, Larry. You know I do. This live was a lot about Larry because you know something? All I can say to you, Larry, is if something happened to you, I would lose my motherfucking mind. I would just lose it. And I'm not going to lose my mind because you're going to take care of yourself. And I can't wait to see you next month. It's going to be one over Union at this CD70s ball. And, Maine, I know I'm going to see you there. I'm going to see you at that ball. And let me tell you something. We're going to have a good time. I want to shout out to my son, Andre. I didn't, get a chance to shout out. Andre, the Omnis need some T-shirts. We need some Ultra Omni T-shirts. I thought you would have thought about that, without me having to bring it up. But anyway, we need some T-shirts. I love you too, Yolanda. And who else on here do I need to? Oh, and again, remember the Face Children are and have always made the flyer. And let me tell you something. For me to win my last Face trophy in 2017, again, I'm not conceited. I'm convinced. You know what I'm saying? And for all of you people that think that if a person walks wash face or paint the face makes a difference, it really doesn't. And then what's it to you? And unless you're in the bathroom or in their house when they are dressing up, how do you know they're wash face? People kill me. You're always opening your mouth and you don't even know what you're talking about. Because all the ones that you claim that are wash face, trust and believe there's a little something going on somewhere. That's how it works. Okay? And I'm, again, not conceited. I'm convinced. And if I could still walk face after 30 years and not just disappear, but still walk and win and win and win and win, then I'm good to go. And again, thank you, Stuart, for unleashing me. But I had the Unleash ball. I thought it was going to be this year. Stuart informed me it's going to be 2022. And I will be there. He going to unleash me. I'm coming to be unleashed. And everybody feel free. Hit up my inbox. See you next month at the ball. I hope I see all of you guys. I forgot, wait a minute. Marcus. That's who I forgot. Shout out to Marcus. You really turned it out with your sex siren. You just really turned it out. And just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Watch people around you. It's just something my spirit told me to tell you. Also, is there anything anybody would like for me to say on this live before I leave? Put it in a comment. I guess not. Oh, Kyle, you always telling me I'm sitting. Am I really sitting, baby? Or should I get in the light some more? And I want everybody to know this is not makeup. Okay? No, it's not painted face. See? It's not painted face. There's no makeup here. But this is a 62-and-a-half-year-old man. And, sometime, I'm not going to lie, after I put a little bit of color on my gray hairs on my beard and stuff. Yeah, I do. Maybe next year I'll do the gray and black thing, or maybe I'll just cut it off, whatever the case may be. Say a prayer for everyone. Okay. Well, I pray that everybody in Ballroom be forgiven for all their sins and shortcomings. And I pray that our Heavenly Father, Jehovah Allah, through Jesus Christ, forgives everybody and blesses everybody. And I pray that we overcome all our trials and tribulations. I pray that we overcome this situation with the government. I pray that we make Ballroom great again, as per Larry Prelo Ebony. I pray that we respect the elders, because I'm older. Listen, if I come to your ball, I'm not even worried about the MC calling me out, because I'll grab the microphone and call myself out. I just had to say that because there's people, like, I love the MCs of today. Miss Precious, she turns it. Kevin Jay-Z has always been, sweet to me. And Lego, I love Lego. And I don't know that many MCs. Jack has his moments. Sometimes, I think Jack forgets about the old school, like, we're some kind of threat to him, because basically I respect Jack. I think he's a great MC. I don't see him as being an icon, but that is not shade. I feel like, you know what? I wish somebody would rewrite what icon status means, because you got people out there like Maine and Kai and all of them that have broke their necks to walk and compete and walk and compete. And all these people that have walked and compete and won and, and did what they had to do. And then you got these people that don't do nothing. Is icon status just trophies? Is it no trophies? Is it what you give back to the community? Or is it just who you sleep with? I don't know. And I really am not trying to read and throw shade. I don't really care. I respect you as a person. And no title, like I call Andre Mizrahi iconic icon, but I don't have to call Andre an iconic icon. All I got to do is squeeze Andre Clark, give him a kiss, hug him, and love him. And he knows that I see him. I see him down. I've given him awards. I praised him on the microphone. I told him to his face. I've told him I loved him. And there are people in Ballroom that I've told that I love. And you know something? If you're in my life, like I get people that send me messages in my inbox, Kev, you don't never say nothing to me. Well, you don't come on my page. You don't say nothing. You don't say, how you doing? You look good. You don't say to me, Kevin, are you all right? You don't say anything. I never let them see me sweat. But I have my own problems. I'm living. And as long as you're alive, you got problems. I'm fully vaccinated, but I went through some of the side effects. I go through problems like everybody else. And I'm saying that all I ask for you to do is, when you see people, the pioneers like me, Larry, R.R., even though I don't talk to him a lot, John Smith, Infinity, Mesquite, Infinity. I love them. I love all of my friends. My sons, Mark, shout out. Okay, here go the shout outs. Mark Ultra Omni, Andre Ultra Omni, Derek Omni, Michael Trills Omni, Brian Branch Omni, Wolfgang Omni. I love all of y'all. Solomon Infinity out in Chicago, Wardell, Tommy Avant-Garde, Landon, I love you. And my son Kai, what can I say? I talk to Kai every single day. And then when I don't talk to him, he's telling me what I should or should not do. And I love the abuse, but I'm supposed to be disciplining him, but he disciplines me. But that's okay, because I'm his dad. He also spoils me to no end. So I ain't worried about it. And let me not forget my grandson. What's his name again, Kai? Oh, let me stop. Sin, you know I love you. Sin Lavin, that's my baby. And oh, my son down in Atlanta, David Albert. And let's not forget Victor Ultra Omni, because if you forget Victor, baby, you're gonna have a problem. Because Victor might, well, I'm not gonna tell you what Victor might do, but I love you, Victor. I love you down. And I'm trying to think of it. Jeree, I saw you online earlier. Hi, Jeree. Shout out, Najee was here earlier. Shout out to Najee. What else? Who else? Who else? Who else is there? Because I always forget somebody. What you mean, yo? What's up with that, David? Yo. What's up? You gonna do something? Oh, Brandon. Brandon, I said that to be shady. Like, I really forgot you. Now, I got two Brandons. I got Brandon in Atlanta, and I got Brandon Hood, Brandon Hart, the boss. Okay. Love you, Clinton. I love you too, David. You know I do. And Kai, as soon as I get off this live, I'm gonna call you, but I'm gonna have to take a bathroom break. I mean, no. It's just like all I got to do is urinate. Shout out to all the barmans. Shout out. Where's my grandson Harold at? Harold, don't make me come to DC. You know I love myself some Harold with Mr. Controversial. And if I can't argue with Harold, who can I argue with? I love Harold. I love you, Harold. I love everybody. Remember, y'all share this with your friends. Put comments in the group, whatever. Take care, stay in touch. And remember, there's more than 5 mothers. And remember, there was original MCs. There's about 10 of us. Okay, not just Junior. And remember, don't forget Angie Infinity when you think of Angie Extravaganza, because all of these are mothers of the ballroom, and Richard Ebony. And Pee Wee, I hope that you know that I wasn't going to let this live go until I said that I love you. Angelina Love, I'm going to talk to you. Aren't we supposed to be talking tomorrow? Thursday? Well, we'll talk tomorrow, Thursday. And then I got a garçon coming from Chicago to interview me next week. Shout out to the House of Garçon. That's about it. That's about it. Anybody else want to know history? Ask one of the pioneers. Everybody join Ask the Pioneer group. That way you can get in there and some pioneers will help answer your questions. Love and kisses. Everybody have a good night. And may our Heavenly Father, Jehovah God, bless each and every one of you and keep you safe and keep you alive and continue to wear your mask because it's not safe. Now, wait a minute. There's one person that I didn't say nothing to, and that's the mother of my house. And that is Akasha. She has been on this live, and every time I see her come up, I'm like, wait a minute. Yes. Shout out to you, Akasha. I love you. And I know that you're going to get them kids together sooner or later. Shout out to Muhammad, all of you guys, Miss Tanya, everybody. Good night, everybody. I love you.